Hello. In this video, my group and I will be unpacking the topic of the gospel and race, more specifically Jesus and what he has to say about injustice through his Sermon on the Mount. We will be also connecting that to Isa McKelley's book, Reading While Black, and his thoughts on Jesus, peacemakers, and public witness. We'll be tying those thoughts to mourning, justice, peacemaking, and evangelism, and more specifically, the Beatitudes as a political witness. Now, I personally believe that Jesus speaks very heavily and clearly about those on the margins and injustice on his Sermon on the Mount. Let's unpack those insights now.
Hello.
Thank you, Wisdom, for your thoughts on the gospel passage, and Max for your brilliant analysis of Macaulay. We see that in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus introduces some teachings that significantly shaped the way his disciples might live, and that the crowd was impressed by his authority. With Macaulay, we see the importance of grappling with our country's history and seeking justice. Now that we've read what Macaulay and Jesus have had to say, what does this teach us about Christ? I think it's clear that we see that Jesus cared for people as he sought justice. We see in chapter 6 his teaching about giving to the needy and proper worship that doesn't involve the praise or extortion of people, but instead focuses on the heart of the matter, or namely, a pure worship and devotion to God. As Christians, we can preach the gospel, but our words will ring hollow if we do not care to live out the justice that is preached in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. The gospel without justice becomes the good news only for the powerful, the oppressor, and the rich, the very antithesis of what Jesus proclaims in the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor, the timid, and the meek, for theirs is the kingdom of God. May we, as believers, be Christ's peacemakers in the world, but let us not stop once we have found peace in our own quiet, secluded suburb. Let us be peacemakers for all. In the words of Macaulay, if the church is going to be on the side of peace for the United States, then there has to be an honest accounting of what this country has done and continues to do to black and brown people. In other words, if we believe that Jesus is God and that he has made all people of every race in his image, then we must strive to represent, love, and serve a Christ that reflects that reality, rather than a Christ that is made in our own image. Thank you.
Had an incredible opportunity to visit Israel. And when I was in Israel, I visited the Church of the Beatitudes. It's north of Galilee, north of the Sea of Galilee. And there was this beautiful garden that had the Beatitudes lined up on stone tablets. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. It's all here at the Church of the Beatitudes. And one of the things that Macaulay contends in his book is that we should take a stance as the Beatitudes as our foundations, a political stance even, recognizing that there is a certain particular heart posture that we are to have in order to be a witness in this world, a political witness even. Macaulay says in his book, "To hunger and thirst for justice is to hope that the things that cause us to mourn will not get the last word." This is so important because we live with an eschatology that Jesus is coming back, and the things of this world, it's not going to get the best of us, because greater is the one living in me than he who's living in the world. Another important thing to remember as we come to this space of political witness and the Christology behind it, is Macaulay contends that, quote, if the church is going to be on the side of peace in the US, then there has to be an honest account of what this country has done and continues to do to Black and brown people. It's so important to recognize the faults that we have had, because the first step in solving any problem is recognizing that there is one. And Macaulay does an incredible job of identifying the issues and allowing us to take a stance with Christ in the inclusion that Christ really came to do. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Stephen and Max, for your insights, and also thank you, Dr. Lugioyo and Dr. Levasheff, for your class that have provoked such thought. All right, class, we are done with our lecture, and here are some questions for further reflection. See you next time.